This is QTV Nightly News coming to you from our studios on Caraba Avenue. I am Umudu Gajaga and thank you for joining us. First, here are the main news headlines. The day of Arafat is the most important day of Hajj. Gambian pilgrims left Mina on Friday evening and converge at Arafat on the second day of the Hajj. To address the growing menace of illicit drugs, especially kus, members of the multi-sectoral National Task Force for Drugs and Substance Abuse have embarked on advocacy campaigns targeting security personnel at different border points in the West Coast region. The Gambia's Commissioner General is urging a public boycott of all water bottles and beverages without tax stamps. As part of efforts to prevent and minimize the impact of floods, Banjul City Council, in partnership with the National Disaster Management Agency (NDMA), have commenced clearing waterways at identified disaster-prone areas in the city. As this year's Tobaski feast approaches, our regional correspondent had many concerns about an increase in the cost of rams considering the recent global economic crisis impacting people's earnings. Ahead of Tobaski, the Nene Maudo Charity Foundation, a not-for-profit organization in the Gambia, has presented valuable items to the shelter in Bakote. And in international news, after several years of delay, Woodside Energy announced this week that it had begun extracting oil from the offshore Sangomar field in Senegal. Those were the news headlines, now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. The day of Arafat is the most important day of the Hajj. Gambian pilgrims left Mina on Friday evening and converged at Arafat on the second day of the Hajj. Our reporter Babakar Sise is with 2 Hour Travel and he filed this report.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Today is the second day of Hajj and it is the most important part of the entire pilgrimage. From Mina, pilgrims make their way to Arafat and devoted all their time in performing prayers, seeking forgiveness of their past sins from Almighty Allah.
We're praying for the nation, we're praying for the group, we're praying for everybody. And tonight we'll be moving to Muzdalifah. We're praying for the whole Q group, for the nation at large, and for every Muslim in general.
Since in the morning we've been praying because the most important prayer in this day is La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahul mulku wa lakal hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. This is the prayer we've been saying during the day, and we've been praying for the whole country, for the whole Q group, and for our families and friends and for ourselves.
This day is known as Standing Before the Lord. Pilgrims will listen to sermons from scholars near the Jabal Rahma, the mountain of mercy, from noon to sunset.
This is a place where prayers are accepted, and then they advise every person to perform, a lot of prayers here for your family, for yourself, for your nation, for your company, for your leaders. And alhamdulillah, we have offered a lot of prayers for different types of people, different organizations, the country, the head of our organization, that is the chairman, Mohamed Jah.
Today is a great day. We are in Arafat. We are praying for our family, Q group, and everybody in the Gambia, the entire Gambia.
The Mountain of Mercy in Arafat holds a special significance for Muslims, as it is the place where the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, delivered the farewell sermon to the Muslims during his final Hajj towards the end of his life.
As the saying goes, Al-Hajj Arafat, anybody who comes for Hajj and doesn't stand in Arafat will not have Hajj. So definitely, Alhamdulillah, all our pilgrims are in Arafat today. You can see them, mashallah, bring all their prayers, Alhamdulillah. And Allah says, if there's any day that Allah would laugh, it will be on the day of Arafat. And it comes once in a year. In the next hour or two, we'll proceed into Muzdalifah, do our Maghrib and Isha prayers there, pick our pebbles, and get ready to go and stone Jamarat, the devil in Jamarat.
pilgrims will leave Arafat tonight and camp at Muzdalifah, where they will pick up pebbles or stones for the symbolic stoning of the devil at Jamarat in Mina. That will be on Sunday, on the day of Idul Adha or Tobaski. Babukar Sise, QTV News, Jabal Ar-Rahma, Arafat.
Members of the Multi-Sectoral National Task Force for Drug and Substance Abuse have embarked on advocacy campaigns targeting security personnel and different border points in the West Coast region to help dispel myth and warn the risks associated with the use and trafficking of illicit drugs, particularly Kush. Aliou Cisse went along and he now files this report.
Day 2 of the campaign took the members of the committee to the Khartoum military post and border post respectively, where they held outdoor discussions with the personnel posted there. This exercise is seen as a key step to better respond to the fight against the drugs menace, as most of the drugs are said to be coming into the country through the borders. Commissioner Alaji Kinte of the Gambia Police Force, who led the delegation, said the campaign is intended to encourage security personnel at the various border entry points to be more vigilant in order to control the inflow of cool substance. Pasamba Bojang, chairman of the task force committee, says the ultimate aim of the committee is to ensure the safety and security of the people, describing drugs as a threat to national security. He says the purpose is to raise awareness for positive decision-making and combat misinformation and disinformation surrounding the realities of Kush.
Coming here today is to sensitize you who are at the points of entry, the borders, to be more vigilant as far as this particular drug is concerned.
It looked like cannabis with smaller leaves, no seed. Because Gambian cannabis, you see seeds and some sticks. It doesn't have sticks, it doesn't have leaf, it has seeds. And secondly, it's never wrapped in a paper, only foil paper or plastic bags. Simple because the chemical additive, they don't want it to be evaporated.
Lieutenant Colonel Sidi Toure, representing the Gambia Armed Forces, Modi Diouf of the Gambia Revenue Authority, Alaji B. Jane of the Civil Society, and Babu B. Cham of the Ministry of Health, respectively, all members of the Task Force Committee, say the war against the use and trafficking of course requires a multi-sectoral approach, which has the security as a key actor.
It will be a hindrance to the progress of this country. It will be a factor to social commotions, banditry, stealing, social conflict, and by extension, crime in general.
And even in our situation report, we have seen that people aged 14 years are using this drug. So that tells us it is what? A concern in the society.
Major Salifu Toure, officer commanding Khartoum military post, and Ansumana Kamara, immigration commanding officer at Khartoum border post, respectively, welcomed the visit as timely and important.
We will give you the assurance that we will definitely make everything possible to make sure we do more search on people. And if that kind of thing is found in anybody, be rest assured the institution concerned will be notified.
Officers requested a physical view of course to help identify it during patrol and screening, which the committee promised to provide. They were advised to conduct their search and handle people professionally and not to harass them. The committee plans to hold the exercise across the main entry points of the country. Course, an illegal drug to the existing illicit drugs, is destroying the lives of many users, particularly young people with potential. Unlike most of the drugs, the effects of taking course appear to be more deadly. Security is battling to win the war against the drug, but with course or spice, as it is also called, spreading faster than expected, this campaign is expected to boost the fight. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
The Gambia's Commissioner General is urging a public boycott of all water bottles and beverages without tax stamps. He was speaking on Thursday following a visit to Bell Bottle Company and Gambega Limited. Ansumana Esonyasi was with the GRA delegation and he now reports.
The tax stamp was introduced to curb tax evasion, improve accountability and efficiency in tax collection, and ensure accountability in tax payments. Since its introduction, the new tax stamp has been embraced by several manufacturing companies, notably the biggest beverage companies in the country, Bell Bottle Company in Bonta Village, Combo East and Gambia. To show appreciation to the two companies for their compliance with the new tax stamp regulation, the Commissioner General, Yankuba Dabo, accompanied by senior GRA officials, paid a visit to the two companies. The visit also aimed to exemplify the Gambia Revenue Authority's resolve to enforce the new regulations, among other things. Speaking to the press following the visits, Commissioner General Dabo said the new regulation is essential for ensuring that goods that are subject to tax are appropriately taxed, which would help eradicate smuggling of beverages into the country, thereby protecting local industries and boosting the country's revenue collection. Consequently, he calls for a public boycott of water bottles and beverages without tax stamps.
Let everybody boycott buying soft drinks, canned drinks, water, and all the accessible items that don't have stamp on them. I want everybody, not only GRA staffs to do the enforcement, but I want to urge Gambians and non-Gambians that are living here, nobody should buy a bottle of water that does not have a tax stamp. Because if you do, we don't have the accountability, we don't have the data to be able to charge that company the right tax. I want to make sure that whatever tax we charge is the right tax.
Speaking further, CG Dabo emphasizes the Revenue Authority's commitment to enforcing the tax stamp regulation. He once more urged the public to support the GRA by not purchasing accessible goods that do not bear the digital tax stamp.
We need the support of the general public. We cannot do it alone. GRA and Minister of Finance cannot do it alone. We need the support of the general public in the reforms that we are doing. Let them support us in the reforms. Let's work together for the betterment of this country. Everything that we are doing is not for us, but we are building a nation for generations to come. All these things we are doing will outlive us. At the end of the year, our children and our grandchildren and grandchildren will come and benefit out of this thing. But we have to lay the foundation. And in doing that, it's very difficult work. Because as you are pushing, people are pulling your legs down. This is exactly what I've seen. You are pushing things, people are pulling your legs down because they see where you are going. But we have a vision, we have a mission, and we have a drive.
Meanwhile, as the GRA anticipates a significant reduction in counterfeit goods, thereby fostering a safer and more transparent market environment, he urges more manufacturers to comply with the digital tax stamp regulation, which characterizes a modern approach to tax administration by exploring technological opportunities to enhance efficiency and accountability in revenue collection. Ansmane Sonyasi for KTV News.
As this year's Tobaski approaches, a regional correspondent, Bakari Balde, made some recent, let me take that again, I beg your pardon. As this year's Tobaski approaches, our regional correspondent Bakari Balde spoke to many people who raised concerns about the increased cost in rams considering the recent global economic impacting people's earnings. Our regional correspondent Bakari Balde engaged customers and livestock dealers in the Lower River region, and he now files this report.
For Eid al-Adha, known locally as Tobaski, many Muslim families who can afford it ritually kill a ram in commemoration of Prophet Ibrahim's willingness to sacrifice his only son in obedience of Allah's command, only for Ismail's life to be spared in exchange for a ram. In honoring this significant occasion, the efforts to get a ram intensifies, and many worry whether they can afford to buy one as prices go up. Ibrahim Ojallo, the president of the Gambia Livestock Owners Association, was in the region to assess how the Tobaski ram business is faring.
This year, the association was able to give enough money to some farmers or potential dealers. They were able to go get these animals into the country, because we don't want only the outside dealers coming from the other country, but we want Gambian also to be the player, because if you look at around the number of animals that are coming, you multiply that by in our currency, we are losing a lot of revenue going out of this country.
Mr. Jallo further outlined what needs to be done to improve the livestock business in the country.
As the association, we need to change. We, the producers, need to change our way of producing in this country. And again, all the stakeholders, all the players, including the government, including we, the farmers, we need to sit down together, strategize. Like in Senegal, we understand there was a delegation that have to go around to make a negotiation and help. So we hope by next year, the Gambia Livestock Marketing Agency, National Livestock Owners, the Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Trade will sit down and then see what can they do before the comments of the Tobaski.
Muhammad Kamara, from Jarambere and Buro Room from Sarebiran, both ram sellers, talk to us about this year's ram sales.
The sefa is very expensive. What we used to buy sefa before is very different to now. The high cost of sefa is what is affecting us in this ram business. If you buy sefa and go to Senegal and buy rams there, once you return, the price of the ram cannot be cheap.
I am appealing to the government to help us with a special place where we can sell our rams. Even though some people said a place has been built, it is yet to be occupied. We are also looking for more support from the government so that our business will move forward.
Khalifa Jajusi, a customer from Soma, compared this year's price of Tobaski ram with that of last year.
By looking at it, last year the prices for rams were easier than this year. The rams I bought for $14,000 last year. This year they are asking for $18,000 to $19,000 each. There are others that I bought for $15,000 last year, but this year they are asking for $20,000 each, and that is why the prices of rams are high this year.
It is only a few days to Tobaski. Despite the price, many Muslims are anticipating to get a ram to celebrate this important day in the Islamic calendar with their families. Bakari Balde, QTV News.
We'll now go for a commercial break, and when we return, we still have some more local and international news stories. Do stay tuned.
Fiesta! Celebrate this Tobaski with the biggest and the cheapest data and voice promo in the Gambia. Get social media bundles for all your favorite sites: Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, Snapchat, Telegram, and X for as low as $15 for 100 megabytes or $60 for 1 gigabyte. You can't beat that! Or buy the Kacha bundle and get 1 gigabyte data with unlimited voice calls for just $100 and stay connected with family, friends, and loved ones. Dial *343# and choose option 1 to subscribe. So rush now and be part of the Tobaski Fiesta with QCell. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell Senior Boss. We innovate. Orders follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. This is QTV News. As part of efforts to prevent and minimize the impact of floods, Banjul City Council, in partnership with the National Disaster Management Agency (NDMA), have commenced clearing waterways at identified disaster-prone areas. Apologies for that little hitch-up there, and we will continue with the news. As part of efforts to prevent and minimize the impact of floods, Banjul City Council, in partnership with the National Disaster Management Agency (NDMA), have commenced clearing waterways at identified disaster-prone areas in the city. The exercise comes a week after a visit to the said sites by BCC and NDMA officials. Ansumane Sonyasi tells us more.
Disasters such as floods have in recent years become a regular occurrence in Banjul. during raining seasons in recent years, particularly in the past 2 years when the city recorded perhaps one of the worst floods in the city's recent history. And as the raining season approaches, with reports of expected above-average rainfall, Banjul City Council, in partnership with the NDMA, as a preventive measure, has commenced clearing waterways at identified hotspots in a bid to ease the flow of water in and around the city. This exercise is one of several preventive measures suggested by a joint team of BCC and NDMA senior officials who accompanied the Ministers of Environment and Works for a long-day visit to identified flood-prone areas in Banjul. Speaking on the importance of the exercise, CEO of the Banjul City Council, Modu Jonga, says it forms part of Council's approach to minimize the impact of disasters in the city. And Mr. Jonga emphasizes the Council's commitment to working with stakeholders such as NDMA to ensure the safety of lives and livelihoods of residents of the city.
This exercise is part of the disaster risk reduction strategy of Banjul City Council ahead of the start of the rainy season, with a view to mitigate the impact of flood in the city. You could recall that the management on the 4th of June visited flood-prone areas with a ministerial delegation, and this includes the Minister for Environment and the Minister for Transport, Works and Infrastructure, and the Executive Director of NDMA and other stakeholders that visited flood-prone areas in the city of Banjul with a view to clean the waterways ahead of the rainy season. And at this point, it's important to acknowledge the support from the National Disaster Management Agency that provides the council with an excavator and trucks to assist in the exercise.
CEO Jonga also called on Banjulians, especially those living in neighborhoods close to the identified hotspots, to support the exercise by ensuring that council staff and NDMA officers are able to do their work without hindrance.
In this regard, we would like to urge the public to desist from throwing waste in waterways so as to ensure the flow of water during the rains. This will avoid flooding during the course of the rainy season, because we are expecting, according to forecast, that there will be a lot of rains this year. So it's important that the public supports the initiative of council by ensuring that they desist from throwing waste in waterways.
A World Bank 2021 study report indicated that floods constitute over 45% of natural hazards in the Gambia. And with flash floods becoming a regular occurrence, particularly in the city, BCC and NDMA officials are intensifying efforts to institute preventive measures that would help minimize the impact of natural disasters in the city, which is home to over 31,000 people. Ansmane Sonyase for KTV News.
The Nene Maudo Charity Foundation, a not-for-profit organization in the Gambia, presented valuable items on Wednesday to the shelter in Bakote ahead of the Tobaski feast. Loli M. Camera witnessed the handing over and filed this report.
The Nene Maudo Charity Foundation has again displayed its generosity by donating essential items to the Bakote shelter. The shelter, which provides housing and support for homeless individuals and families, received a generous donation of rice, onions, cooking oil, children's clothes, and a ram, amongst other things, from the foundation. The donation was made as part of the foundation's ongoing efforts to give back to the community and make a positive impact on the lives of those in need. Mariama Julde Jallo, founder of the Nene Maudo Charity Foundation, expressed her desire to continue supporting the shelter and other organizations in need.
Giving back to the community is just something that, we all have to do together, especially these orphans kids. They don't have anybody. All they have is us. And not only that, we have our elders that are in here. They don't have anywhere to live. They live in this shelter. So any penny that you have, you bring here, it's going to go to them. So I'm just asking Gambians and non-Gambians to give out and support the Nene Maudo Charity Foundation.
The Minister of Gender, Children and Social Welfare appreciates this gesture by the Nene Maudo Charity Foundation.
We are very grateful for the support. This shelter is housing orphans
and children who don't have parents, and government is giving all support to make sure that their welfare is taken care of for them to be future adults. And the Model Foundation, through Mariama, also came to give us support. We are aware that the government cannot do it all. We need philanthropists and other institutions like the Model Foundation to give support.
Dante JKBI, the acting shelter manager, says the items donated will be put to good use and also go a long way towards providing nourishment for the targeted individuals during this important festival.
It is indeed a great pleasure to have you people in our midst, and also to appreciate the ram and the food items and the cars you have brought for the children to enjoy their Tobaski, and the beautiful clothes you have bought for them. Indeed, people should take the lead to follow your footsteps by giving support to an organization like the shelter.
The Muslim feast of Eid al-Adha, also locally known as Tobaski, is an important religious holiday in Islam. It is celebrated to commemorate the willingness of Abraham to sacrifice his son as an act of obedience to God. Before Abraham could sacrifice his son, however, Allah provided a lamb to sacrifice instead. This is commemorated by Muslims by the slaughtering of a ram. This feast is also a reminder of the importance of faith and submission to Allah's will in the Islamic faith. It is usually a time for Muslims to gather with family and friends, share food and gifts, and reflect on the teachings of their religion. The feast also serves as a reminder to be grateful for the blessings in one's life and to help those less fortunate. The foundation hopes that their donation will inspire others to lend a helping hand to those in need and make a difference in their community. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
Coming up next is international news. After several years of delay, Woodside Energy announced this week that it had begun extracting oil from the offshore Sangomar field in Senegal, about 100 kilometers south of the capital, Dakar. Aliou Cissé reports.
On Wednesday, officials of Australian-founded Woodside Energy Company presented to Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye on the sidelines of the Council of Ministers meeting a sample of the first crude extracted from the Sangomar oil field. Radio France International reported that the floating facility has a storage capacity of 1.3 million barrels. At a depth of 780 meters, it contains both oil and gas and is expected to produce between 100,000 and 125,000 barrels per day. President Faye congratulated his government, the people of Senegal and Woodside Energy, and prayed for the oil to bring prosperity, peace and harmony to Senegal. There are hopes among Senegalese citizens that the oil and gas industry will bring billions of dollars in revenue for the country and contribute to transforming its economy. Elected in April this year, President Bassirou Diomaye Faye reaffirmed his commitment to transparent and equitable management of natural resources. In what will be a joint ownership, Woodside has 82% stake, with the remainder held by Senegal's state-owned energy company. In addition to Sangomar field, other oil and gas fields are under development in Senegal, notably by Britain's BP on the border with Mauritania. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
Well, that's it for QTV News tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Join us on Monday for another news bulletin. Have a lovely Tobaski.